And that's going to be our next section. So where is the service portal? The service portal is going to be at service.ringcentral.com. This is the website you're going to go to post-activation to be able to make modifications to your extension. Okay. In fact, today we're going to actually do that live. I'm going to go to service.ringcentral.com so you guys can see what it looks like. And you can see here it's asking us to sign in via our credentials. Now you don't have to sign in by phone number, it says email as well. So you can simply replace this with your email, press next, and then simply pop in your password. But here we'll be able to actually showcase what the service portal looks the first time. Okay, in fact, that's a good point. If you are signing in for the first time, it may ask you for a 4 to 6-digit security PIN. That is absolutely normal. It will send that security code to your work email address. You just copy and paste it back in the service portal. It should never ask you for that code again, as long as you don't change computers. Okay, there's a lot of options in here available to you from the service portal when it comes to your extension, so it just wants to make sure you are you and the computer you're logging in on is your computer. So we're going to focus on 2 pieces under the service portal. They're going to be under your settings tab. One is changing your voicemail, and the other is how to forward calls to other coworkers. Okay, let's get the easier out of the way first. Changing your voicemail is simple as clicking on messages and notifications. And from here, you can scroll down and you can see that when I activated my extension, I chose to customize my voicemail at the time of activation. Okay, some of you may have chosen the default option. If you chose the default option, you'll see default here instead. Okay, either way, you'll have the option down below that says edit to change your voicemail, and I'm going to show you both scenarios regardless of the option that you chose. Okay, let's say first you recorded something, you simply want to change it a week later, a month later, half a year later. Simply press the edit key and a pop-up will come up asking you to listen to your voicemail, your existing voicemail, or to simply press the red button to re-record your custom greeting. I'm going to specifically press the red button, which will immediately take me to the prompt where I can grab that recording and put it into RingCentral again. And if you did choose the customize option, this will look very familiar to you. These are the options that RingCentral will give you to capture that from you. So option number 1 is simply to type in your phone number. This can be the direct number that is associated with your extension. Simply type it in, hit call now, and the platform will literally call you at that device. Okay, so if you have a Polycom on your desk, that will ring, you can pick it up. It will not be a human being. It will be an automated attendant, and it will guide you through the process of recording your voicemail, listening to that voicemail. If you botched it the first time, you can re-record it, re-listen to it as many times as you wish until you're happy with it, and then save it while on that call. And once you save the call, you'll actually see a message at the very bottom here that says recording saved successfully, and you can simply press done. And then at that point, you've essentially overwritten your voicemail. There are other options in here as well, such as computer microphone and importing. I would suggest against computer microphone unless you have an external microphone of some sort. I'm using a pair of earpods that came with my iPhone, and those are plugged into my Mac, and that allows me to use this as a microphone. And this will actually give me even better quality than on a phone call. So in that case, I would use the computer microphone. For everybody else, however, if you don't have any external microphone, just stick to the phone. You'll get better results that way. If you use the computer microphone without an external, it will defer to your internal microphone built into your computer, but most of those are very low quality, especially compared to a phone call. All right. Lastly, we have the import option. These are for people who want to bring in their recording as a file. So if you happen to have a local file on your computer of that recording as a WAV or MP3 file, you can import it right from here. Okay. So that covers how to change your voicemail if you've already recorded a voicemail. What if you chose the default option? Some people choose the default option simply because they don't have time, right? And they say they'll change their voicemail later on. You'll see the word default, but when you press the word edit, you'll actually see a different pop-up screen. Okay, let me show you what that will look like. You will actually see something along the lines of this. So this is RingCentral's way of simply saying, hey, you don't have a custom recorded voicemail, but we are saying this on your behalf. It's very generic. And if I want to overwrite this and turn this into a recorded message that I'm going to record, I simply pull down the default option, choose custom, and this should immediately bring me back to the page we were just looking at before, which is this page. Okay, and again, Just pop in your phone number, hit call now, follow the steps. It will allow you to record that message, hit done, and at that point you've overwritten your default, and you should see the word custom here as well, okay, indicating that you've done it correctly. So regardless of the boat that you fall into, you now know how to change your voicemail regardless of your activation method, okay? Secondly, while we're in here, let's talk about how we're going to forward calls to coworkers, right? That's going to be done under call handling and forwarding. Call handling and forwarding, in a nutshell, controls how calls come into this extension, right? I know there's a lot of stuff going on the screen, but let me explain it in plain English. In the top left-hand corner of our screen, it's saying that during user hours, calls are going to flow into this list down below sequentially, meaning one after the other. And these are the devices that are going to be hit as part of this list and for how long. So I have my apps that I have on my computer, and I have a Polycom phone at my office as well. So what does this mean? Well, if somebody calls me, it's going to first attempt me at my apps for the first ring or 5 seconds. So whether you are using the desktop application or the mobile application on your iPhone or Android, it will always attempt you there first. Okay, so let's say a call comes in, it will attempt me on my computer if I'm logged in, it will come up as a pop-up, and it'll try me there for about 5 seconds. Okay, if I don't answer that call and ignore it, it will continue to roll to my second device on this list, which is my Polycom. We will then proceed to ring that for an additional 20 seconds. Okay, then if I don't pick up there, where does it go? Well, it has nowhere else to go, so where does it go? It goes straight to voicemail. Okay, so that's the general layout, have calls flow in. So you can adjust the duration of how things are rung for, etc. Now, what if I want to forward a call to a colleague? There are typically two situations that I find that end users most commonly will forward calls. One, I ask a coworker, for example, to cover calls that I can't get to, right? Let's say I know I'm expecting a lot of calls for the day, and I simply want my coworker, Luke, to cover calls that I miss, right? First, I go to Luke, ask him, are you okay with this? He says, okay. And the way I would actually add the coworkers to this list is not using these fields on the right here. Okay, these are for external numbers only, not for coworkers direct numbers. Okay. Also, at the top, a lot of people misconstrue this as a way to do that as well. If you click this, it just simply creates another one of these custom external fields. Okay. To actually add a coworker, we're going to use the 3 dots in the top right. I'm going to click it and click Forward to Others Phones. From here, the system is actually going to pull up every single phone on your account. Okay, so whether it's a soft phone, whether it's a hard phone, meaning a software-based device or a physical device, I can do a search for Luke's device. So Luke has a Polycom phone, and that's the primary way I would like those calls to be distributed to him. And if I select that, I hit Done. Okay. Remember, you're not selecting Luke's extension, you're selecting his phone. So a common question that comes up is if it rings to Luke's extension and he doesn't pick up, does it go to his voicemail? No, it doesn't. Okay, it's just reaching out to his phone through your extension. So when a call routes through here, it still retains your extension and still goes to your voicemail, even if Luke doesn't pick up. But you can see here now I have a sequence that will first attempt me for the first 5 seconds of my apps, then my Polycom phone for the next 20 seconds. If I don't pick up that, it'll then roll to Luke's phone for an additional 20 seconds, and then finally go to voicemail. Again, it does not go to Luke's voicemail as part of this step, okay? You can, in fact, forward voicemails to him if you wish. So if I ask Luke, hey, are you okay with both covering my calls as well as covering any voicemails? You could go into messages and notifications, and for those of you that were paying attention, under messages and notifications, there's an option on the right that says message recipient. So I could potentially point this to Luke's extension if I wanted to do that as well, okay? The other scenario that you'll want to probably create is if you just want Luke to cover all your calls, right? So I don't want to intercept any calls. Let's say I'm not feeling well for the day, I need to go home, and I ask Luke, hey, do you mind if you cover my calls for the rest of the day? You still do the same step as I just showed, right? You still use the 3 dots, you add him to this list just as you see here. There's one additional step I need to take. I need to turn off my Polycom phone, obviously, since I'm not going to be able to take calls. And I'm also going to turn off my app, since I'm not going to be able to take calls there either. And when I press save, now all calls that come into my extension will go out to Luke's phone as part of my extension. Okay, and again, if he doesn't pick up, it still goes to my voicemail. And let's say I come in the next day, I'm feeling a little bit better, and I want to undo what I did. All I need to do is go back in here, turn on my phone, turn on my apps with these switches, and then simply turn off Luke's phone. And if you have a phone that is not native to this extension, turned off and then saved, what it'll do automatically is actually remove it. So you'll see when I go back in here, take a look, we're back to where we started. Okay? So regardless of your situation, these are the bare basics of how to forward calls to colleagues, etc. Again, these fields are not designed for coworkers, but more if you want to forward it to an external number, right? So if I'm not feeling well, I can always go to my grandma's house. I can click Add Call Forwarding Phone and type in grandma and put in an external number. And if I do use an external number, I have to make sure to put in a full 10-digit phone number. And you'll see it just adds it to the list. Okay, again, if I don't want it, I simply just remove it, hit save, and we're back to where we started. Okay, so these are the basics of how to manage your voicemail and how to forward calls in your extension. So the service portal has a lot of other options in here, but again, most of those are set up automatically for you.
Again, once you log into the service web, you will see up here at the top that you have these different menus. First menu that you have will be an overall view of everything that's going on, including your messages. Speaking of messages, when you want to check your voicemail messages from this online database, all you have to do is go up here to the top, select messages, and then it will take you to your message portal. As you can see here, the very first box that it will take you to will be your inbox. This is where you will see all of your messages. For instance, your voicemail messages. If you receive any type of faxes to your direct number and things of that nature, you will see them all listed out here in your inbox. So as you can see in the inbox here, you can see the ones that are different, the ones that are voicemail messages. As you can see here, it'll have the little play button right here. This is your voicemail message. You can actually click on the icon there, hit the play button, and you'll be actually able to hear your voicemail message. You will also notice here to the very far right-hand side next to each message, you have a download option, which will save your voicemail message or your faxes or any of the messages that you have listed in here to your laptop or PC or a designated location that you set up. You will also have the option here directly next to it to forward. If you want to forward this message to somebody else via email, it will walk you through step by step on doing that as well. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to show you in messages while we are here is that in the future here, you will have an option on your RingCentral soft phone to manually record a call. Now, I will show you multiple places to retrieve that call, but since we're here on the web portal, you can also go down here to the very bottom where it says recordings, and then this is where your recorded calls will be stored as well. Now from here, I'm going to take you next to setting up your user hours. To set up your user hours, if you go here to the fifth setting here where it says settings, if you click on this, this will actually take you to all of your settings for your profile with RingCentral. Your user hours will be located under user details. Now to expand and retract each section here, all you have to do is simply click on the title itself or the little upside down pyramid directly next to it. So when you click on user details, you will see all of your information specifically just for you. You will also notice that there's a little sub menu here. The general tab is where it'll take you to it first, but if you click on settings and permissions, this is where you will see your user hours. So as you can tell at the present time here, some of you might be set to 24/7. Mine are already set to custom. But if you wanted to change it in any way, of course, under user hours, you will simply click on edit and then change your user hours here. For instance, if your hours are set to 24/7, if I hit save, it'll change it to 24/7. If I wanted to change it to something more custom, I go back into edit. First thing I do is click on custom hours. Now notice here that it'll put Monday through Friday. If you work weekend hours, you can also click that radio button next to the weekend days to change that as well. The easiest way to change your user hours is simply do it the very first one. So say for instance, if my hours are 8 to 5, if I change it to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., if I change it on my very first one, if I go to the very far right-hand side and hit this drop-down menu to where it says copy to weekdays, if I click on that, copy to weekdays, and then as you can see, it changed it from all my other days.